What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to be taking a look at 1955's Lady and the Tramp, starring the vocal talents of Barbara Luddy, Larry Roberts, Bill Thompson, Bill Balcom, Verna Felton, Peggy Lee, Alan Reed, Thurl Ravenscroft, and Stan Freberg. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said during the intro, today we're almost at the halfway point. 8 movies in the Silver Age, so it's kind of hard to have an exact halfway, but we're almost at the halfway point of the Silver Age. And today we're going to talk about Lady and the Tramp from 1955. No, not November 5th, 1955. We already did that. That was a whole other movie set that we took care of a couple months ago. But Lady and the Tramp, one of those beloved treasures from the Walt Disney Animation Studios. And let's get right into it here, shall we? Our story begins on Christmas evening in the year 1909 in a quaint, quiet Midwestern town that was visually inspired by Walt Disney's hometown of Marceline, Missouri. Jim Deere gives his wife, Darling, her gift, a Cocker Spaniel puppy that they decide to name Lady. As she grows up, Lady enjoys a happy life with her owners and befriends 2 local dogs, Jock, a Scottish Terrier, and Trusty, a Bloodhound. Across town, we meet a stray mutt named Tramp, who lives on his own, dines on scraps from an Italian restaurant named Tony's, and is a protector of sorts for the other local strays, including a Pekingese named Peg and a bulldog named Bull, protecting them from the local dog catcher. And one day, Lady becomes upset after her owners begin to treat her a little bit coldly. She's not used to that type of behavior. And when Jock and Trusty visit her that day, they deduce that the behavioral change is due to the fact that Jim Deere and Darling are expecting their first child. Jock and Trusty attempt to explain to Lady what a baby is, when Tramp barges in, interrupts the conversation, and educates with his thoughts on the matter, which causes Jock and Trusty to take an immediate disliking to him, and they order him out of the yard immediately. As Tramp exits, he warns Lady that when baby moves in, dog moves out. Once the baby arrives, Jim Dear and Darling introduce Lady to the infant, and Lady becomes very protective of it. Jim Dear and Darling leave for vacation, and Aunt Sarah comes to take care of the baby and the house in their absence. Aunt Sarah brings her Siamese cats with her, and the troublemaking duo proceed to mess up the house, knowing that Lady will get in trouble for it. When Aunt Sarah comes to check on the commotion, the two cats, Si and Am, trick her into thinking Lady attacked them. So the next day, Aunt Sarah takes Lady to a pet shop and gets a muzzle for her. Terrified, Lady flees the store and is pursued by a trio of stray dogs. Tramp shows up, rescues her, fighting off the vicious strays. And Tramp sees the muzzle on Lady's head and decides to take her to the zoo. Once inside the zoo, Tramp locates a beaver who uses his teeth to remove Lady's muzzle. That evening, Tramp shows Lady a little bit of his lifestyle, which eventually leads them to a candlelit dinner at Tony's, where Lady and the Tramp begin to fall in love with each other. But instead of staying with him, she decides to return home in order to watch over the baby. Tramp offers to escort Lady back home, but when he stops to chase hens, Lady is captured by the dog catcher and taken to the local pound. At the pound, the other dogs reveal Tramp's past to Lady, referencing his many other girlfriends. They tell her that they don't ever see him settling down. Aunt Sarah shows up to the pound, claims Lady, and then chains Lady up in the backyard as punishment for having run off. Jock and Trusty come over and attempt to comfort Lady, but to no avail. When Tramp shows up to apologize, Lady berates him for his past girlfriends and his failure to rescue her from the pound. Tramp leaves, sad. But immediately after he leaves, Lady sees a rat sneak into the house. So she begins to bark frantically, but Aunt Sarah tries to silence Lady. Tramp hears Lady's barking and rushes back. He enters into the house, and after chasing the rat, is able to corner it in the nursery. Lady is able to break free from her chains and rushes to the nursery, where Tramp inadvertently knocks over the baby's crib before killing the rat. Aunt Sarah comes to check on the commotion. She sees the crib knocked over and assumes that Lady and Tramp hurt the baby. Aunt Sarah pushes Tramp into a closet and locks Lady in the basement, and then calls the pound in order for them to come and take Tramp away. Just as this is all going on, Jim Dear and Darling arrive back home as the dog catcher takes off with Tramp. They find Lady locked up and release her, and she leads them to the dead rat. Jock and Trusty overhear everything and chase down the dog catcher wagon. The dogs find the wagon and they scare the horses, causing the wagon to crash. Jim Dear arrives at the scene in a taxi with Lady, who then reunites with Tramp, but the wagon almost kills Trusty. That Christmas, Tramp has been adopted officially into the family by Jim Dear and Darling, and he and Lady have started a family of their own. 4 puppies in total, 3 that look like Lady and 1 that looks like Tramp. Jock and Trusty come over to visit the family and are welcomed as guests by Jim Dear and Darling. Trusty, recovering from a broken leg as a result of the wagon falling on him, And thanks to the puppies, Trusty now has a new audience to tell his stories about Old Reliable. But sadly, he's forgotten them as our film comes to its conclusion. I'm not going to waste any time chit-chatting right now. Please join me in welcoming to the show frequent collaborator of mine, both here and on the Jeff Meacham Network. The man, the myth, the legend, the West Coast professor, the owner, operator, CEO of the Jeff Meacham Network, none other than Jeff Meacham himself. Jeff, thank you for joining me here, as always, on the Casa D18 Studios channel and Renegades Reviews. Welcome to the dog pound. It looks like us two old dogs are in the dog house. Thank you for joining me to talk about this film from 1955. And no, once again, not November 5th, 1955, although it seems like you have a knack of joining me for those. That year must be something in the space-time continuum.
Well, I mean, you figure, July of 55, Disneyland opens and our lives as a world change forever. A few months later, some dude named Calvin Klein sings a ridiculously good version of Johnny B. Good somehow before Chuck Berry even invented the song. And then, send these two people off into Foreverland as husband and wife down the line. So it must be a good year for all of us. And as you said, we're in the dog pound. We're going to be the first time we've been in the dog pound Disney-wise now, would it, Jay?
Oh, no.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, probably the last.
I have pictures of me locked up in Disney jail in Toontown, so
Yes. We've all been there, and that's okay. That's okay. We all know the Mouse Mafia is a thing, but there was a victory against Mouse Mafia last week, so bravo, sir. Very nicely done.
Yes. Let you guys out there know what he's referencing. Some of you guys may have seen my little tribute video that I put up a couple weeks back to Samuel E. Wright, the voice of Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, who recently passed away. Of course, Disney flagged me when I used Kiss the Girl and Under the Sea.
Yes.
And I got an email back basically saying that, they've allowed me the usage of the songs and taken away their copyright claim. So, any time that you can defeat the great and powerful Mickey the Mouse,
yes,
that's a good day, Tater, as we like to say around the old Casa.
Yeah, and for a guy who's been doing these monthly Disney streams for a year and having Facebook tell me, no, can't do that. It's like, I'm not making a dime. Like, I'm not even putting this on my YouTube page. Like, it's literally for this small group of people that don't, miss the parks like I do. But it worked out because I had a friend who wanted to watch the Fantastic Show but couldn't because she's not on my Facebook group. So I put it on Twitter. They don't really get to see the shit about Twitter unless they're really like I think I got monetized for Twitter once, and I was like, okay, let's into that. So it's very funny that you're covering the movies right up until the beginning of the Renaissance, and one of the key Renaissance movies almost got us in hot water with the Mouse Mafia. So luckily things worked out, and it's all good now.
But enough about The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
We will definitely get there before the end of the month.
Yes.
We are here today to wax philosophical on Lady and the Tramp. And I gotta say, I was a little bit surprised. I told you this in private. I was a little bit surprised that this one was one of the ones that you chose to be on. I completely thought that you would have joined me yesterday when I talked about Peepan.
Yes. Well,
considering your history with that film and your son's obsession with it a long time ago.
Oh, yes.
The Galaxy Far, Far Away, which
feels that way.
Another franchise we already did already.
Yeah. Which is also owned by Disney. But
what was it about Lady and the Tramp that made you want to come here with me today and discuss it?
Well, I could, hand you some, detailed JM, BS reason. The truth of the matter is it's Tuesday and I don't have anything going on Tuesdays anymore. So, I mean, I'm
gotta draw money.
Come back this week. I mean, I was going to do the NW Power Watch alongs, but it's just like, I didn't do it last week. And I'm like, I'd rather talk about it after. And the thing is, going on at 705, with the NWA Watch, review is deadly also because they have their own show that goes on after the Power show. So, you know what? I'll do JJ's show at 6:00 today, and that way I can watch NWA Power while I'm moderating the show I'm on. That way I can keep track of the naughty people in the chat room. You know who you are. But I honestly adore this movie. It's such a sweet movie. It's one of my mom's favorites, which I don't talk about a whole lot. My mom was very much a Sleeping Beauty person. Gee, I wonder why Teresa and I get along so well. But, I mean,
that's tomorrow. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
But what's funny though is Dylan's mom, I think, borrowed our DVD copy of Sleeping Beauty, and we never got it back. And I railroaded for that. So I went out and freaking, when they released the thing out of the vault back before we had Disney Plus, didn't need the vault no more. Man, I bought like 3 copies just to make sure I had backups. Like, okay, I'm not fucking around with this anymore. So.
Hey, you know what? Where I come from, you don't rely on streaming. We can't put our bank in the fact that it's on Disney Plus now, and it'll be on Disney Plus when we need to watch it. That's why I still have hard media, and I still believe in DVDs and Blu-rays.
Well, as you saw, I still have Pinocchio on VHS when we bought it in '93. So it's
there you go.
We do keep it. I mean, if we ever go back to VCRs, I'll be very surprised. I'm not going to lie, but stranger things have happened. So what's really funny, I don't know if I mentioned this on the Pinocchio review, but I actually found the original 1985 video, like $1. I'm like, oh, I should buy it, and I didn't. So, but we'll see. Because I mean, do I really need it, or am I just being a complete idiot about Pinocchio?
You're just being a complete idiot about it.
Yeah, but with Lady and the Tramp, it's just a sweet. I don't recall this being one of the quote unquote grim fairy tales that were adapted into a Disney story. This is more of like an original type story, and I really took to it. I enjoyed. I enjoy the presentation of the humans in this, because usually, when you have them interacting, you see everybody, man. This is strictly from the dog's perspective, and the humans are like cut off at the midriff, and it almost feels like we're having to have the dog's point of view, which is we are looked down upon, we are lesser than. And Lady was so revered for so long when she first arrived, and then she became just another puppy. And it was as I love my dogs. I will go to bat for my dogs. I'll die for my dogs, man. So, we've had primarily female dogs my entire life. The one male dog we had, God love him. We had it for 12 years, but it's been primarily a female dog situation over here. So, seeing her have to struggle and meeting this literal tramp off the street. And, it's a whole, star-crossed lovers thing. It's like they're not supposed to work, but they do, and it's a beautiful thing. And, the freaking cavalcade of crazy people, crazy dogs in the pound, in the pound truck. I mean, though I love that whole group. Help me with the name. I forgot. I just watched this damn movie and I forgot the name. The lady dog that's in the pound with Tramp, with you only see one of her eyes, like the
Pekingese. That's Peg.
Pekingese thing. Peg. Yeah. God, I don't even know why I remember this now, but I remember thinking, God, if Peg were a human, I'd be in trouble. Back when I first watched it, I'm not kidding, but
in all seriousness, it is the voice of Peggy Lee,
Okay, so there you go. So
hence the reason why the dog was named Peg.
Exactly. So it's we'd all be in trouble if it was a human being for sure. Because she's had that.
And those of you out there who don't really know who Peggy Lee is, look up her version of Fever. Get back to us.
God. Yeah, if you can. If you have the ability to type and function as a basic human after that.
But you mentioned how Lady and the Tramp was one that your mom loved. Yep. It was the same thing with me. My mom adored Lady and the Tramp. I think it's a maternal thing.
Yeah.
You figure first it's the baby puppy.
Yep.
And then the human baby.
Yeah.
And then you even watch how Lady kind of takes to the baby and becomes very protective over it. That maternal instinct.
Yep.
Something there that just connects to the mothers,
Yep. It's funny you mentioned that. Our dog now, Betsy, took to Dylan so well, but Dylan was already almost 9 years old when we got her. Dylan was born after we got our boy pit bull, Cannon. our male pit bull, Cannon, and you like we could have we'd have arguments or here or whatever. Cannon would always put himself between Dylan and everybody else. That was his baby. Do not F with him, or I will eat you raw. Like, dogs have this thing, man. Dogs are so protective of their people. I've noticed that more than with cats or, you know, with anything. Dogs just have that instinct to protect their pack. They're like wolves. You know, they protect their own. And Dylan being, you know, literally this big when Cannon first saw him, you know, it's like, no, that's my baby. Screw you. So, like, yeah, I love the whole dog-human dynamic. I didn't like, even to this day, I don't like the whole shunning lady aside because the baby and then the damn Siamese cats causing the issue. And God, I had not had that song in my head, Jay, for 20 years, so I hate you. For the record, God,
I'm used to it.
Right? Yeah, I know. Well, God, after
I hate
freaking
the show, Jay.
Well, hey, after Dad's last week and you putting Paul Rome in a Dream Horseman group, I'd have smack you on principle for that. Jesus. Oh, God. All weekend I've been festered about that. All weekend, by the way. So, oh, God. Paul Rome. Lordy. But yeah, it's the, I mean, it's funny how the heels, yes, are primarily humans. What you would expect in a dog pound, dog capture style movie. But those Siamese twins are very much in the Lucifer category of a freaking nasty accomplice. Like, those assholes just, oh, God, you just want to smack them both. You know?
I definitely feel like Aunt Sarah is the primary villain.
Oh, yeah.
But Cy and Am are definitely right up there, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As soon as they get a glimpse of Lady, they're like, okay, we can destroy this house and she will take all the blame because our master loves us.
Yep. Yeah, it's even worse than Lucifer and Lady Tremaine, because Lady Tremaine, yeah, she was sneaky and manipulative, underhanded, but she didn't, you know, just take up for Lucifer just because it was Lucifer. Like, even if Lucifer screwed up, you could see in the back, you know, in the backstory that she'd smack Lucifer in the face if he messed up too. These damn cats can do no wrong. Yeah, and it's very disgusting. You know, for a guy that didn't even own cats or really even like cats until I met you and Mike, like, just no.
Yeah, I remember that when you first started coming down, you had allergic reactions.
Oh, yeah.
But after integrating into the house for a while, your allergies went away because you were around them for so much.
Well, visiting you guys for almost 2 straight years, plus filming with Aaron at least twice a month, and he had his cats. So it was almost like my body just kind of just like, all right, whatever. He's going to be here. I might as well stop acting like a fool and get him killed. But yeah, it's funny. And then I've been away from everybody. Like, I can't do cats again. It's very, very bad. So I'm grateful that nobody I currently visit has the feline infestation anymore. But yeah, I never liked Cyanam. Never. I just, if there was any Disney animals, I would like eradicate just because. Those two for sure. Lucifer, I neuter. Just be an asshole, Lucifer, because I can't stand him either. But, you know, but yeah, especially in part 3.
Well, see, I still haven't seen Cinderella 2 and 3, but, you know, maybe that'll be a topic that I'll get to, you know, somewhere down the road, you know, and I'll do the straight to video sequels. But
I'll tell you right now, and even Disney will agree with me on this. I've talked to Disney people on this. Skip 2. Like, 2 is just not even worth it. 3 is the story. Anyway, but we're in the weeds here, as we always do around here.
You mentioned the Siamese cat song that they sing and how you hadn't had that song stuck in your head for 20 years. Let's talk a little bit about the music, though. You know, that Siamese cat song, you know, as annoying as it is, is definitely a solid villain song.
Very much so. Very much so.
And then you've got, you know, He's a Tramp, sung by Peggy Lee.
Which is classic. Hell yeah.
You've got, you want to talk about classic, you've got Bella Notte.
Oh, I know. Oh, like,
you know, from the infamous spaghetti scene.
It's so funny. The first time Dylan's mom and I dined in the Blue Bayou, back when we actually thought we were actually in love, like, I don't know.
Hey, once upon a dream you were, okay? And then things happen.
I don't know if it was done on purpose or it just happened to be like part of the rotation, but they played Bella Norte as we were being served our food. I'm like, really? It was awesome. But I like that. I like Jesus. I'm just trying to look here. What all we got here on these? There's a lot of good quality tracks on this soundtrack. The song "Peace on Earth" and the reprise at the end with the finale. That's a really pretty melody. The lyrics are good, but the melody is what gets you on that song. I love it. Absolutely love it.
See, and I never remember that one because it just doesn't have that stick with you ability.
Well,
at least not with me. You know, the three that I rattled off are the ones
right.
that people tend to really think of, the greatest hits, if you will.
Yes,
when it comes to this film.
You'll definitely find those on when you tell ECHO back here to play Disney hits on Sirius XM radio. Those are 3 songs you'll hear from this movie for sure. And the SRC's channel called Disney Hits now on Sirius.
I also love the little lullaby that Darlene sings. You know, the Lullalu.
Oh God, yeah, Lullalu. I don't even see it on the. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Baby's First Morning / What's a Baby / Lullalu. Yeah, that's a great, and it's Barbara Luddy singing it, so that's awesome. Gotta love that. It's again, music is. I know you are not the music person. We went over that during the summer blockbusters, but it's a very sweet soundtrack. It's got a lot of great little interludes to it, but yeah, those 3 songs for sure. Definitely, if Uncle Jay was ever to make a mixtape of the Disney greatest hits ever again, those 3 would definitely be under the consideration. No doubt about it for me.
Yeah, I want to say it's about a 5-disc compilation that I've made within the last year of my favorite songs from Disney films.
Yep.
And, you know, I threw some live action stuff in there too because I had to represent my Bears.
Oh, yeah, have to.
But if I remember correctly, those 3 definitely pop up somewhere. It's been a minute since I've listened to it, though.
Right. It's funny, you mentioned the last year. I don't know about the rest of the songs. I have to make my definitive list one of these days and see what actually pops in my head and what I remember. If you want to get Friend Like Me from Aladdin, the cartoon, you can't use Spotify, which is ridiculous because you have to use live action version if you want that because whatever reason, Robin's songs aren't on Spotify. It's very bizarre. I wonder if that was part of the whole take my name off this shit lawsuit that went down.
It may just been part of the rights, you know, the estate.
Well, I mean, yeah, because it's been long enough where that would be a thing, I suppose. Anyway.
But so we've got the music, we've got the story.
Yes.
What else draws you to Lady and the Tramp?
It's going to sound really silly. Honestly, it's that the characters are all dogs in some way or another. I am such a dog lover. I love dogs. And the fact that the main villain is a lover of cats and the cats are the accomplices and they get theirs in the end, that just makes my freaking day. Because, but you remember when I was a kid, you know, growing up, like I said, probably right up until talk wrestling really started getting hot, and then I started being down there a lot, and down with you guys down there a lot. I didn't like cats. Like it was out of necessity. Don't get me wrong, because of the allergy, but it grew to like I just didn't like being around cats or seeing cats or just no. So growing up for sure with the allergy, seeing the cats get theirs was awesome. Aunt Sarah is just it's. You don't expect a Disney, almost like a Disney side attraction character to be the prominent villain, and she is. And you just, like, you know, having been fortunate to grow up and having aunts that weren't, you know, evil biatches or, you know, horrible people, it was very, very easy for me to dislike this person because she was so the antithesis of my aunts and uncles over the years. So, I enjoy the dynamic between all the dogs. It's very, very well laid out from start to finish, how the story progresses, how, lady falls out of favor with the house she's in because of circumstances beyond her control. And again, the star-crossed lovers thing always gets to me. It always reminds me of, if like the Baby Rexa FGL songs, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And if Lady and the Tramp are definitely meant to be. So it had to find a way, and it was such a find a way that they actually had at least one sequel from it, and then they had the live action version a couple years ago when Disney Plus dropped. So
yes, there is a sequel, The Scamp's Adventure.
There you go.
And it's a story that worked so well here that they basically repeated it with the Aristocats.
Yes.
Because you figure Thomas O'Malley is very much the Tramp role,
right?
And then Duchess is Lady.
And can you imagine two more, even in voices, star-crossed people than freaking Phil Harris and Zsa Zsa Gabor? Like, holy crap, Jesus!
Was it Zsa Zsa or was it Eva? I think it was Eva.
Either way,
I think it was the same one.
The same one. We'll that narrows it down. Either way, just the fact that it's Phil Harris. Okay, it's David Gabor. But either way, Phil Harris, who was just this good old country boy. For me, it sounds like he's a country boy, and then you got Ava Gabor, who is not. It's funny.
It was very much kind of a play on the Green Acres.
Very much so, because again, Ava Gabor's on that show, and her husband is, loves the country life, and she's like, no, I'm a city girl. No, not at all. So it's just, and God, look, I mean, you're gonna do Aristocats down the line here, but I'm just seeing this cast on.
Yeah, I'll get to it in a few days. Yeah,
I'll have to watch you review that because there's a good cast. I forgot how many good people on this cast. Jesus. Anyway.
All these films have got great casts.
It's crazy.
I've been talking, each day as the name pops up, but like Sterling Holloway is very much a MVP in this era.
Yes. And for those of you that don't know Sterling's main contribution to Disney, we need to poop. So I've
mentioned his name. I've mentioned his contributions. Yeah. Ironically, he's not in this one, but
no, he's not.
He does pop up quite a bit.
Yep. But I mean, God, you got Barbara Luddy, who was huge back then. Larry Roberts, kind of a character actor, for lack of a better term, back then, but still definitely made his impact. There's so many, and again, Peggy Lee. Like Peggy Lee was an amazing performer, and like I said, y'all, like JJ said, go listen to her version of Fever, and then once you've towed off and cool down a bit, come on back to the show. Thanks.
Scoring Peggy Lee for this was as big of a coup as scoring Bette Midler for Hocus Pocus.
Yes,
like for real.
Yeah.
Or Billy Joel for Oliver and Company.
Who's the female in Oliver Company? Because I know she was a big music name too.
Bette Midler is in Oliver and Company as well.
See, there you go. Yeah, the fact that these huge, like almost theatrical operatic names coming to Disney, it's like that shows how popular Disney and how important to our culture by 1955, 1970, all of Disney had become. Exactly.
Finger on the pulse, baby. Finger on the pulse.
That's it. I love how not only is Thor Ravenscroft, yes, you've heard that name on this show before, is the alligator. He's also, him and Bill and Max and Bob and the two Bobs, the Mellow Men, are in this as the dog horse. Like, people, who's the Mellow Men? Google, kids. Swear to God, just do it. They're in every damn thing.
For real.
Oh man. It tickles me so much that Thor Ravenscroft is not only the Grinch behind the man behind the Grinch fanatics that he is, but he's in a lot of Disney stuff, not just the movies. Like you hear him in a very prominent ride that goes through a spookier house and then a graveyard afterwards. So just love that he's part of that too. Just makes my day.
All right, sir. You know how we do it here.
I do.
What do you say about Lady and the Tramp?
Man, it's. I know I rated Pinocchio a 5, and that's very biased, obviously, because it's Pinocchio. But God, I'm the worst with these because I love all these Disney movies. I don't want to make it seem like I rate them any less than the other because I adore every one I've seen. I will go ahead and say 4.5.
Okay.
And again, that's not a purposeful flight. That's just, it's not my favorite. It's not up there in Pinocchio land or Peter Pan land for me, or Snow White or Cinderella. I would break them up here. I'll give it a 6 or a 7. Let's not kid ourselves. That's my girl. But yeah, it's just right there. It's not quite the perfect Disney movie for me.
It's fair enough. Fair enough. I also give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. You know, I feel like there's something missing, but I can't really put my finger on what it is, if that makes any sense to you.
You know, it's funny. I mentioned the other movies, you know, that I would rate higher or whatever. For me, and this is going to come off maybe petty or unjustified. Maybe I'm wrong there. Lady and the Tramp didn't get the live action treatment theatrically.
No,
it got Disney Plus, whereas Aladdin, Pinocchio, to a certain extent, Snow White, all these classic Disney movies were adapted in some Disney way or another on the big screen, and because those were the stalwarts, those were the cornerstones. Whereas Lady and the Tramp, as awesome as Lady and the Tramp is, and one of the defining movies of the post-package movie / Silver era, Silver Age, it really didn't hit the home run that like Peter Pan did for me. And again, like you said, I'm not sure what it is, but something's not there.
In all fairness to Lady and the Tramp, I feel like it could have been released theatrically,
right?
The live action. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still haven't watched it to be able to pass that criticism on it.
I will be tonight after I do this.
I feel like it could have been released theatrically, but I feel like Disney Plus wanted some kind of hook,
right,
to bring people into the subscription.
That makes sense.
So by having a live action retelling exclusive to Disney Plus,
true,
rake in those dollars, you know. Gotta draw money.
Yeah. Bring it back next week. And the fact that
so I think that's the reason why
that makes sense.
They went with that from a marketing standpoint.
That makes sense. I mean, you figure they had that, and then not long after they had Noelle, which I still have not seen either. I heard was very, very good. That's gonna be part of my Christmas binge this year. So, but I heard that was very well done too. So maybe I'm not giving enough of a chance theatrically or not theatrically. But again, you know, you yourself, you can tell everybody right now, you're doing 30 days of this, and you're like getting up to 1991.
1990. November of 1990 was Rescuers Down Under.
There you go. So you're going up to the pre-Undertaker years. That's how far back you're going. When JJ's month stops, there will still have been no Undertaker.
Pretty much.
We old folk, it's okay. We know this.
But I mean, you know, the fact that I'm covering 53 years in 30 days, and then come next year when I pick up this topic, I'll be able to cover 31 years in 31 days.
Roughly, yeah.
Because I'll be doing it in July like I was supposed to do it this year. Right. 31 days in July. So 31 years in 31 days.
Yeah.
And it's taken 30 days to do 53 years. It's like that just shows the power of the machine.
Yeah, it honestly
shows. Once the Renaissance took off and technology was what it was, and every year they were cranking them out basically.
Yeah, and if it wasn't on the main side, it was on the Pixar side, one or the other. Every year, it's crazy. I mean, I was doing I'm actually doing a month right now where I'm going through and counting down the MCU and the DC, and trying to do every other day, do a different side of the coin. Man, it's scary how much it pretty much synced up very well. Once I got through the original MCU list and then the DC list, starting with Superman, Like it just fell right into place where the last day I have my countdown is the day I start Gotham. Yes, I am doing Gotham this year. I pinky swear in the air right now.
I'll believe it when I see it.
And then the way Gotham fell, it stops right when my horror countdown starts in September. Like it all fell into place right up until Christmas Eve. I was like, yes, thank you God. So it worked out. Hopefully Christmas, hopefully the 26th to the 31st of December doesn't leave me burnt out or bored to tears. But we'll see.
Knowing you, it might, but we'll get there.
Yes. Burnout is a thing.
You guys get out there on social media. Get those hashtags trending for us. Hashtag Casa D18 Studios. Hashtag Renegades Reviews. Hashtag Renegade Returns. Hashtag Jeff Meacham Network. And, of course, the ever-popular hashtag Shenanigans.
Which is on order now. So there you go.
We interrupt this episode of Renegades Reviews for an important announcement about
merchandising.
Merchandising? What's that?
Merchandising. Come, I'll show you. Merchandising, where the real money's made.
Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the t-shirts you see here from the West Coast professor, Jeff Meacham himself. You can get shirts for the Jeff Meacham Network, Talk Wrestling, as well as the red and gold Meachamania shirts. And while you're there, don't forget to get your shirts of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood, the Dads on Wrestling shirt, the Renegade J.J. Williams, Statboy Sports Bar, and the hashtag Statboy Approved shirt. Make sure you go over to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and score your shirts today. Make sure you guys get out there. Do what that commercial just told you. Go to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network for all the official merchandise of the Casa D18 Studios Brotherhood. Get you your Renegade J.J. Williams shirt, your Dad's Not Always on Wrestling shirt, Statboy Sports Bar, hashtag Statboy Approved, hashtag Shenanigans. Get you your official t-shirts of the Jeff Meacham Network, 3 different designs of the Jeff Meacham Network logo for you to choose from, along with Talk Wrestling, Meachamania, and so much more. Tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, make sure you tune in for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews when we close out the 50s in the Walt Disney Animation Studios Silver Age era with 1959's Sleeping Beauty.
Oh man.
Featuring the voice talents of Mary Costa, Eleanor Audley, Verna Felton, Barbara Jo Allen, Barbara Luddy, and Bill Shirley.
Uncle Jim, there's a lot of some of the voices in now, and as to what ones you already done.
I know. The main repeat offender in that one is Verna Felton.
Oh, well,
she's the major one, that we've had multiple times here.
True. But I was going to say, if you thought Eleanor Audley was evil in Cinderella, oh no.
It's going to get good. She dons those horns as Maleficent.
That's right. There's a reason I wear my Sorcerer Mickey in private around her, because it's scary.
But you're not going to want to miss out on that. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios. Brand new installment of Renegades Reviews as we take a look at Sleeping Beauty. Jeff, have you got anything that you'd like to plug here coming up?
Today's the 15th of June, which means we're free from our cages here in California.
True that.
What's that?
So true that.
God, yeah. I mean, like doing the
free at last.
Thank God Almighty. Anyway, and I'm the whitest boy to be saying that, but that's okay. Lordy. I don't know if we're doing a watch along Sunday because I'm not sure as of taping this what the plans are for Father's Day. But if I am home, we will be doing the Hell in a Cell watch along. Show, right? Tomorrow's a great show. I put in my storyteller.
Okay. Just figured you'd want to do it in chronological order.
No. So Hell in a Cell is a maybe, but tomorrow, the Greg Cherry Show. Let's see, tomorrow, I think that's it as far as our channel. Thursday, of course, the Nerdy Gear review each and every Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. Friday will be an episode of Dad's. No, it will be the replay of Renegades.
Yes.
Which will be, there you go, Sword of the Stone. Thank you very much. Another, for my money, another underappreciated classic from the Disney vaults. I don't know, and again, the story of King Arthur and Excalibur is not everybody's cup of tea, and I get that, but I just loved this. I loved it as a kid, more so than I do now. I'm not going to lie. This one now for me is kind of like meh, whatever. I much preferred the Once Upon a Time interpretation of the whole King Arthur Excalibur story, which just was tremendously woven into the Once Upon a Time lore. I thought it was did such a great job with that.
The mythos.
But yeah, I enjoy the cartoon. I think Merlin's hysterical. The old hag is funnier than hell. That poor lady squirrel, man, just breaks my bleeding heart every time I see that part of it. But tune in on Thursday. If you don't catch it at 6 o'clock, you're eating dinner, you're out, whatever, come back at 7 o'clock over on my side. It'll be on then. And like I said, if we do the watch along for Sunday, then we'll have a Hell Cell prediction show Saturday evening at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. So there you go.
Yeah, I definitely feel I'm going to go ahead and get this out there right now, and I'll get more in depth when I do the review. But I definitely feel like Sword in the Stone is the weakest link of the Silver Age.
Yes.
You know, the Silver Age, I've mentioned a couple times here the last couple days how prior to the Renaissance, the Silver Age, man, is very much Walt Disney Animation Studios' greatest hits.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you figure Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, Jungle Book. That's the Silver Age.
Not even Aristocats is in there?
Nope, that's the start of the Dark Ages.
Oh, that's a shame.
Or the Bronze Age.
Bronze Age, right.
Well, could call it the Dark Age with some of those movies that's in there, but yeah.
Dark Age is Sword of the Stone. I understood that reference.
The end of the Silver Age is the last film that Walt had his hands in.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So,
well, but it's very much like Disneyland and Disney World. Disney World was underway but not done, and they went ahead and completed it. It may not would have been what it wanted, and it took them a while to get their footing down there. But here, man, we really struggle here as far as the park really doing anything monumental until, I dare say, between his passing and the revamp of Fantasyland the first time in '83. Like, this park was just kind of like very hit or miss for a lot of people. So his passing definitely affected the entire company across all departments. And those Bronze Age movies definitely show it, unfortunately.
Really quickly, since we did touch on the parks here, before I wrap up, I'm kind of surprised considering that Lady and the Tramp, the film we're discussing today, came out in 1955, the year the park opened.
Right.
I'm surprised that there was never a Tony's restaurant.
Yeah. And I don't think they've done it in any other Disney parks yet, which is very distressing to me. You would think they'd want that for like a couples retreat type thing. That'd be the perfect thing. So, I mean,
it's possible that there was one in the hotels at some point, but
maybe
that way it could be more coupley,
right,
romantic. But like I would have put Tony's where the Village House was.
I was gonna say that is a perfect spot.
There was already representation for Pinocchio with the ride, so they didn't need the restaurant themed. Also,
true.
When you think of Pinocchio, you don't think of restaurants.
No,
you think of that ride pretty much. Workshop.
Yeah. Right.
You think of a workshop, a toy shop, if you will.
Right, which is funny because they had like what looked like it could have been the inside of Geppetto's workshop there on the path between the ride and the restaurant, because much like the Main Street windows, they had like a little display there of like Pinocchio and a couple of other marionettes. So it was a perfect tie-in to have that store there. Again, what are they thinking in 55? They're just thinking about, getting the greatest hits. And I dare say, even back then, Lady and the Tramp wasn't considered, or was not considered, it was going to be a greatest hit. So, which is a shame.
But then they made, Aurora's Castle the centerpiece, and that movie didn't come out for another 4 years.
Which is very funny.
So it's just something I was thinking about when I was trying to think of things to discuss, knowing that we were going to come into this tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those things that make you go because
you think of all the other attractions, opening day attractions that were there, and some like Dumbo's got 2 representations.
True.
It's got the flying elephants and it's got the Casey Jr. ride.
And if you think about it, they have a ride for Peter Pan that people are still in line for 55 now. I mean, they've been in line for 60 years and they still haven't gone on the ride yet.
Pretty much. Feels that way sometimes.
If you know, and we love you. Lord.
But it just seems weird that, back then they didn't think about Tony's restaurant with the special of a spaghetti plate. Like, come on, it writes
plate for
itself,
2.
people.
It really does. And even if
give me the job in Imagineering, goddammit.
You brought my polo.
First things I'll do, put a Tony's restaurant in and bring back the Country Bears.
Yes, in that order. And not necessarily in that order.
No.
Country Bears first. Bye-bye, Pooh Bear.
Well, you know what? I might pitch the Tony's restaurant first because I think that one they might actually be like, why did we never think of this?
True.
And then once I've got them hooked, then bring in the Bears.
Under the radar, that's it. And even if they didn't do it in 55 for Disneyland, dude, Walt Disney World is how big at this point? Yeah. Hello. 4 parks.
Or the fact that they didn't do it with the 83 revamp.
How about over at the hell's the name of that? The World Showcase in the Italian Pavilion in Epcot. Just saying, folks.
But anyways.
Again, we're not working there. We're just here bitching about it. So,
hindsight being 2020. And I know it's kind of taboo to say those numbers these days, but it is what it is, baby.
It is, baby. That's it. There you go.
To all my loyal viewers that have tuned in today, watching the premiere, leaving your comments all the way over there next to Jeff. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys. All my fans tuning in a little bit later in the day, leaving your comments down here, watching on demand. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you guys. I appreciate all my loyal viewers and fans who tune in on a regular basis, watching my shows, supporting my content. Thank you guys so very much. Thank you all for tuning in and watching today. Thank you, Mr. Meacham, for joining me, and I will see you guys next time.